Hello, guys. My name is Nicholas Earl, and welcome back to another edition of Baseball Talk with the Earl Brothers. And today, we are in June. It is June 3rd, at around 9:30 of time recording. This video probably will be posted like Sunday, the 7th. So this will be posted in a few days because we have a few videos lined up before this one that I've recorded tonight. So this will be a little bit. So if the records are a little outdated and things along those lines, for a couple days, that is why. But we've made it into June. It is June 3rd, and it's time for like an early look on trade deadline. See whether or not these teams are going to be all. It was going to be a tier list. We have 6 tiers that we're going to be putting these teams into. All in buyers. These are going to be the teams that are going to go out. They're going to go try to trade for the big guys, improve their team for a World Series run. Then we have buyers, teams that are going to go out and acquire talent at the deadline. Soft buy. They'll trade away lower prospects for depth pieces, things along those lines. A bit of both. Teams that will buy with similar to the soft buy, they'll buy like that, but they'll sell similar to a soft sell where they'll trade away pending free agents, relievers, things along those lines, and then full on sellers. Teams that are not competing, that are going to be selling at the deadline, that will be looking to get value any way they can, whether it's players that are pending free agents or if it's players that have maybe some term still on their contract. So we'll get it started here. Looks like we're starting in the National League East, and we are starting with the Atlanta Braves. And this is a pretty simple one. They're all in buyers. They're 41-20 this year, first place in the National League East, 9 games up on the Philadelphia Phillies. Currently the best team in baseball, 41-20. Yeah, this Braves team is going to be all in this year. The core is outperforming how I thought they were going to do. I think they're going to go for after pitching. If you guys watched the video coming out the day before this video, Tariq Skubal could be an option for the Atlanta Braves this year as a potential trade piece. And I do think that the Braves are going to be all in at the deadline. The only problem with them is I don't know if their system is good enough for an all-in type of moves, but they definitely have improved their system a little bit to be able to go and trade. So things along those lines. Miami Marlins, I'm going to have them in soft sell. It's either no, I'm gonna have them in sellers. I'm gonna have them in the first sellers here. They are currently 29-34, 13 games behind the Braves for the division, and they are currently 4.5 games out of a wild card spot, 5 games under 500. I do see them trading pending free agents. I also see them moving someone like Sandy Alcantara at the deadline as well, someone who has been rumored multiple years in a row to be traded. And I do see the Marlins as traders in this deadline or as sellers. The Mets are sellers. They are even worse than the Marlins right now. They are currently 27-35 at time of recording, 6 games behind for the wild card, 14 and a half out for the division. This isn't much of a discussion. They are sellers at the deadline. Freddie Peralta is as good as gone. Brooks Raley could be as good as gone. Maybe you look to trade a Bo Bichette and get out of that money. Maybe you look to trade someone like a Polanco if he can come back and be healthy. Maybe you look to trade David Peterson and you look to trade away guys like that to prep for 2027. I do not see the Mets as do not see the Mets as anything other than sellers. The Philadelphia Phillies are a weird one. They are. They're currently 32-29. They're 9 games back of the Braves, second place in the division. They are currently a half game behind the Padres for the last wild card spot. They started off the year really poorly, and they have been playing a lot better as of late, though, especially after firing their manager. I'm not. I'm gonna put them in buyers. I'm not gonna put them in all in buyers yet. If they were in a playoff spot at this point, if they were like clear in a wild card spot, I would have them as all in buyers. But I'm gonna have them as buyers at the moment. But come the tier list a month from now for a trade deadline, I think they could be in the all in buyers category. If they continue to play the way they have, 7-3 in their last 10 games on a 2-game winning streak, they have been pretty good. They've been good as of late. I do see them moving. If this was a month ago, they'd be in the soft sell. For the National soft sell, this is still a team that is rebuilding a little bit. They are 31 and 32. They're 2.5 games back. They have lost their last 3 games as they just got swept by the Miami Marlins. So that puts a little bit of a damper in this team at the moment. I do see them as a soft sell. I don't see them as big of a seller as a lot of people do, though. I don't see them trading C.J. Abrams. I don't see them trading any big names like that. But some pending free agents, I think, could definitely get moved at the deadline for them. So I'm going to have them as soft sellers. The Cubs are buyers. Now the question is, are they going to be buyers or are they going to be all-in buyers? I'm going to have them just at buyers right now. I'm going to have them below the Phillies. They are currently a half game out of the wild card, behind both the Padres and the Diamondbacks. They are currently tied with the Phillies, and they are tied with the Cardinals for half game behind in the wild card. This is a team that is pretty simple. They're going to buy, and we know exactly what they're going to buy. Pitching. Pitching is what they need. Pitching is what they're going to go and get. So something to keep an eye out for the Cubbies is pitching. The Reds. Maybe they're a soft buy. Maybe they go after a bat or two, some pitching, some depth guys, bullpen pieces. I don't see them going crazy at the deadline, but I don't see them selling at all either. They are currently, here's the thing, they're currently last place in their division, but 7 games behind the Brewers. But they're 2 games over 500. They're 31 and 29, and they are a game behind the Padres, half game behind, or game behind the Padres and the Diamondbacks. They're half a game behind the Cardinals, Cubs, and Phillies for that for the wild card spot. So I have them in soft buy. I can't really justify them being all in buyers or buyers in general. So soft buy for them. Brewers got to be buyers. The question is, are they all in or not? The Brewers are currently 37 and 21. They lead their division. They have a 5.5 game lead over the Pirates. As the National League, the division leaders are pretty solid right now. The Braves are up 9.5 games. The Brewers are up 5.5 games. The Dodgers are up 6.5 games. So we know the division leaders are pretty solid where they are at the moment. Just the Brewers, I just don't know if I can trust their front office to be full on all in buyers. I would love to put them in the all in buyer category. You know what? I'm going to put them at the bottom of that because I mentioned in the video yesterday, Tariq Skubal. I could see him getting. I could see the Brewers putting in an offer for him, and they have the farm system to absolutely do so. They have the farm system to compete. Absolutely do. I can see that here. I'll have the Brewers in all in buyer. The Pirates, I'm going to put them in soft buy. I mean, they went out and they got players this offseason. I don't see them as going to be big buyers, but they're going to add some pieces. They'll add a bat or two, maybe a bullpen arm, things along those lines. But I don't see them as being big buyers, but I do not see them as sellers in the slightest. They are currently 5.5 games behind the Brewers for the division, but they are currently a half a game up on the Diamondbacks and the Padres for the top wildcard spot. So they are definitely, I think they are a playoff team, the Pirates, and I think they will add during the deadline, just not huge. The Cardinals. The Cardinals are an interesting one. They have hit a little bit of a skid as of late. They've lost 7 of their last 10 games. They're 6.5 games behind the Milwaukee Brewers. And they are half a game behind the Padres and the Diamondbacks for the division, or for the wild cards there. I have them in a bit of both. I think they're going to sell off some of their pending free agents, but I can see them adding some guys with control and things along those lines to look towards the future, but also maybe helping them try to compete this year. But at the same time, trade away guys who they don't really see in the future here, pending free agents, things along those lines. I think a bit of both for the Cardinals. The Diamondbacks, soft buy. They'll go after relievers. I think that's the number one thing they need is just relief help. I think they'll go out. They'll add an arm or two. Not too much of a discussion there. Rockies are sellers. Simple enough. Do I need to explain? They're 24 and 38, 9 games out of a wild card spot. Only the Giants have a worse record than them, which I'll save you the time there. The Giants are sellers as well. The Dodgers, they're all in buyers. They're going to be all in buyers. I mean, they can land Tariq Skubal if they wanted to. They got the farm system to do it. So I think that I definitely think the Dodgers could be suitors for Tariq Skubal and some other big name pitchers and things along those lines. So Dodgers, they're all in buyers. The Padres, I'm going to put them as buyers. I'm not going to put them as all in buyers because I don't think AJ Preller has enough prospects in order to do so. Very plain and simple. I did have the Padres in that trade video for Skubal. However, I don't see them landing Skubal. I don't think they have a good enough system to land Skubal. To be completely honest, so the Padres, I do have them as buyers, but they're probably going to be more limited buyers when it comes to what they can get, because I mean they've gone all in the last few years, and their farm system shows it there. The Orioles are a weird team, and now we're into the American League, and the American League is going to be weird because you have a team like Boston and Houston who are 8 games under 500 that are 3.5 games out of a wild card spot, so they're still alive. So it's interesting there. The Orioles soft buy. They're a game and a half out. They're 29-33 though. Not a team that I think is going to do much. Bullpen help, pitching help is probably where they'll go after. Not too much to go after there. The Red Sox, they're 3.5 games out of the wild card. They're 26-34. I think they are soft sellers, but they could also be a bit of both. But I'm gonna have them as soft sellers for this deadline. I don't see them getting back into contention by trade deadline time, and I see them maybe trading off some pending free agents. Maybe a Aroldis Chapman could be potentially traded maybe a Jarren Duran. I don't see them as full sellers, but I do think they'll sell off some bullpen pieces and some things along those lines. The Yankees are all in buyers. The Yankees are currently the top wild card team, but they're 6.5 games up on the Athletics for that top wild card spot. And they're currently a half game behind the Rays at 36-24 for the division. They're going to be all in. Talk about buyers. Tampa Bay Rays. They're currently leading the American League East at 36-23, just like we all anticipated. They are coming off of getting swept, and they've lost 8 of their last 10 games. But they still lead the division there because they've played really good baseball so far this year. I have them as buyers. I can't put them in all in buyers, but this is definitely a team that their farm system, they can absolutely be all in buyers. Absolutely can, because they have one of the better farm systems in baseball. The question is, will they? So Rays, I have them as the top of the buyers. If you want to put them at the bottom of all in buyers, by all means, I think they absolutely can. And actually, I'll put them there. So I have the Rays on that top one there. Toronto Blue Jays, a game and a half out of the wild card. They are 29-33. I see them very similar to the Orioles, just higher than the Orioles. They've dealt with a lot of injuries so far, and as they get healthier, I do think the Blue Jays are a playoff team this year. They'll add a couple pieces. I don't think they'll be anything huge, but I think they'll be a soft buy. Chicago White Sox have been fun. I think they do a little bit of both, though, because I don't know how long the White Sox will keep this up. They're currently 33-29. They are currently 2.5 games up on the Athletics for a wild card spot. They are also 2 games up on the no, they're 2.5 games up on the Rangers. They're 2 games up on the Rangers for a wild card spot as well. Do they keep it up is the ultimate question. I do think they will add some guys with control looking towards the future as well, but I can also see them selling off a couple pieces, like depth pieces and stuff like that. So maybe a little bit of both if you're the Chicago White Sox. The Guardians are going to be buyers. at the deadline. They are currently leaders of the American League Central. Guard ball is continuing and playing well, 35 and 27. And I think they are a team that will buy at this year's deadline. Guardians, buyers here. Tigers, well, we did the Tariq Skubal video. You should know where the Tigers are going to go. They're sellers. They are currently 11 games behind the Guardians at 25 and 38 at the time of recording, and they are currently third to last in the American League. They're 6 games back in the wild card with the Red Sox, Astros, Twins, Orioles, Blue Jays, Athletics all above them, and then they still need to pass the Rangers. Yeah, this is going to be a fire sale team. The Texas Rangers. Skubal should, or not the Rangers, the Tigers. Skubal will be gone at the deadline, and I think they will trade off some other free agents, pending free agents as well, and maybe some guys with some term too. Royal, actually, maybe not guys with term, just pending free agents, but they'll be sellers. The Royals, I think they'll be sellers as well. They are currently a game worse than the Detroit Tigers, 23 and 38. They are currently only a half game better than the Angels for the worst record in the American League. This is a Royals team that will be trading some pieces away during the deadline, so they will be part of that. The Minnesota Twins, somehow 2 games out of a wild card spot right now at 29-34. Not a team I think is going to compete for a playoff spot this year or anything along those lines. I think they will sell pieces at the deadline, bullpen pieces, some bats, pending free agents, things along those lines. I don't think they go into a full fire sale like they did last year, but I do think they will sell at this year's deadline. The Athletics could be some soft buy here for the no city designation Athletics. Half game out of the wild card. They have lost 7 of their last 10 games, but they are currently also 2.5 games behind the Mariners for the division. They did get swept by said Mariners, but this is a Athletics team that I think could look to buy some pieces with control going forward. The Astros. They're going to be a soft seller. I see them very similar to the Red Sox. Now, different than the Red Sox, though, the Astros are 5.5 games out for the division. They are 8 games under 500, 27 and 35. They're 3.5 games out of the wild card at the moment. But they've got a bunch of teams they've got to pass as well. The Astros, who have to pass the Twins, the Orioles, the Blue Jays, the Athletics, and the Rangers in order to be in a wild card spot. Can they do that? Yeah, I can see them doing that, but I see them soft selling. And if it gets worse, they can be full on sellers at the deadline. I just feel like I can't put the Red Sox in full on seller without and not put the Astros there. So wherever they go, the Red Sox go, I think the Astros will as well. Angels are sellers. They're the worst team in the American League. Reed Detmers could be moved. Jose Soriano could be moved. So a couple of their bats could be moved as well. Jorge Soler could be moved. The Mike Trout could be moved at the deadline. Not saying he will be, but that's a possibility as well. No, the Angels are absolutely sellers. The Mariners are buyers, and they've started playing much better as of late. They now have a 2-game lead in the division, 33 and 30. And they're starting to play like we thought they were going to in the beginning of the year, and start to take over this division. I think the Mariners are absolutely buyers, and I'm going to put them above the Rays as all-in buyers because this is still a Mariners team that I think can make a deep run in the playoffs and will add accordingly. Mariners are all-in buyers. The Texas Rangers are weird. They're currently in a wild card spot. They're in the last wild card spot, but they're a game under 500. Maybe the softest of buys, but I think come trade deadline time, I think they could be soft sellers. So maybe the answer is just a little bit of both. They trade away some of their pending free agents, but go and acquire some guys with term, things along those lines. It's a tricky team, the Texas Rangers, but I'll put them in the middle for right now. But that is the full tier list for the early trade deadline video here. All in buyers: Los Angeles Dodgers, New York Yankees, Atlanta Braves, Milwaukee Brewers, Seattle Mariners, Tampa Bay Rays. Buyers: Philadelphia Phillies, Cleveland Guardians, San Diego Padres, Chicago Cubs. Soft buyers: Athletics, Pirates, Reds, Diamondbacks, Blue Jays, and Orioles. A little bit of both. Cardinals, White Sox, and Rangers. Soft sellers: Red Sox, Astros, Nationals, and Twins. Sellers: Marlins, Mets, Rockies, Giants, Tigers, Royals, and Angels. That's going to do it for this video, though. Let me know in the comment section below, where did I go wrong here? Where did I go right? Obviously, this is a perfect list, so I don't know how you guys would argue it. But let me know down in the comment section below what you guys would change here. But that's going to do it for this one. Thank you, guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.